This week on Inside Boulder News, the unique offerings at the Main Library Makerspace receive national attention. A community-wide collaboration brings a new workspace to the downtown civic area, and the Boulder Police Department gets creative in combating bike thefts. Welcome to Inside Boulder News. I'm Ashley Prill. The Main Library Makerspace opened its doors in February to an eager crowd of Boulder community members. Just over 4 months later, the Building 61 Makerspace was recognized nationally for its unique offerings. Creative technologists Janet Hollingsworth and Adam Watts were invited to Washington, D.C. to be featured makers at the Capitol Hill Maker Fair.
And this was a huge, huge honor. Not only were we one of only 4 libraries represented in the country, but we had only been around for about 4 months, whereas many of the other librarians had been doing their makerspace activities for over 4 years. So it was a wonderful opportunity to be recognized for pushing the boundary of what libraries are offering, especially with makerspaces in more industrial settings.
The invitation came from the Institute for Museum and Library Services in conjunction with the Congressional Maker Caucus, which is a bipartisan committee in D.C. To prepare, the creative technologists developed a postcard project called Building a Better World.
And basically it was to get people communicating, talking to one another on an intimate level, so one-on-one, by sending postcards to somebody with a drawing or an illustration of something that they would want to create to make the world a better place. And then those images were uploaded to our website, where we have a gallery where we can have a much larger conversation about what we can do, what we can actually make to contribute to making a better world. And so that's really part of what we see ourselves as, in a very ambitious sense, but it is true. We really do want to contribute to making the world a better place with this makerspace.
Featuring Boulder as part of the maker movement on a national platform ignited an even bigger passion for Building 61.
We are back and we are more energized than ever. So we are offering more and more community workshop style programs. And the goal of those is that we can offer it to more people so that we're not limited to intimate classes, although we will certainly continue to have those kind of one-on-one smaller class settings so that we can cover things in more depth. But the workshop style classes, we can open that up to 30, 40 people, and we can do things like bookbinding and kind of take on a much larger group. And we do sewing rebellion workshops and things of that nature that we are really able to accommodate much larger groups as well as families. And that's something that I'm particularly excited to be able to offer here.
I think that the maker movement is strong, and I think that people are getting back to DIY culture in a real way. We have come full around from consumer culture to a culture of makers and people who want to do things for themselves and bring manufacturing and production back to America.
The best way to get involved with the Building 61 Makerspace is by visiting the online calendar. There are classes and workshops for all ages, and reservations are always appreciated. The City of Boulder is looking for ways to provide improved access and parking management to the greater Chautauqua area and wants your help in the process. The city is accepting applications for up to 15 Boulder community members to form a working group that will assist the city with the Chautauqua Access Management Plan.
A lot of people, when they're heading up to Chautauqua, they're taking a lot of equipment. They might be carpooling with friends, perhaps bringing a dog with them to go for a hike. So it's really important that they are able to get up there. Right now we have pretty limited parking. There's just that one kind of small parking lot, some parking in the area we sometimes refer to as the leasehold or the historic landmark area. And then there's parking in the surrounding neighborhood, but that can really impact the neighbors who live there and are seeing a lot of parking, which isn't the public right-of-way, but is happening in front of their houses. Many people are really considerate, but some people will park in front of driveways or too close to stop signs and things like that, and the neighbors are kind of like, hey, this is really impacting us. So we're looking for people who can come in and offer that diverse viewpoints, can really balance all of the different needs. The folks who are coming in to access open space up there, the folks who are coming in to use the park, go to the dining hall, the people who live in the leasehold, either part of the year or the whole year, the folks who live in the surrounding neighborhood, and think about how people are having kind of these impacts around parking, around access, and how do we make it so that there's better access for everybody. And one of the things we'll be looking at for that is managed parking. So to a certain extent, we already manage parking up there, and that there's not just unlimited parking, and there are rules about where you can park. but there are other things that could be used. So the City of Boulder has a neighborhood parking permit program, which we've kind of talked about recently in the city's newsletter. That's one option. We need to kind of look at whether or not that program's the right fit for that area, but something like that would be an option for managing parking. And then charging for parking as well. So when we think about charging for parking, what we'd like the working group to help us with is to think about what are the right signals that we can send around pricing. So it's not necessarily about making a ton of money or anything like that. It's actually very expensive to install some of the parking equipment and do some of that, and do enforcement is very, very expensive. It's more about how can we signal to people how long they should be parked in a certain location, or how can we maybe set the price at a point where people still have access or have better access. So that's some of what we'll be asking people to do. And I would say the biggest and most important thing is someone who can, getting folks in there who can really balance all the different needs. So not just coming from the standpoint of one user group, but really looking at, okay, like this is where I'm coming from, this is my expertise, but how can I make this work for everyone?
Applications should be submitted online no later than 9 a.m. on Monday, August 8th. Working group members will need to commit to meeting approximately once a month for up to 6 months beginning in September. Thanks to a vision from a world-renowned engineer and neuroscientist and a community-wide collaboration, Boulder has its very own tree office. The Tree X office was inspired by Natalie Jeremijenko to encourage people to think about their relationship to the natural world. And it was made possible by the Boulder Museum of Contemporary Art, Eco Arts Connections, the CU Program in Environmental Design, and the Boulder Public Library's Building 61 Makerspace.
I think one of the things that's really important about this project is, and that Natalie Jeremijenko talks about a lot, is that this is not a tree house, which is an enclosed private space typically. It's a tree office, which is an open public space.
Every time I look at it, I have to remind myself that it was a bunch of junior college students that designed and built this entire thing. I mean, we did everything from pick out the metal, cut the metal in the shop, weld it ourselves. Pretty much everything other than cutting of the screen was done by us, and that's, I don't know, every time I see it, it's kind of have to pinch myself and remind myself that that's where that came from.
One of the starting concepts was the tree, and that's part of the tree office concept. The tree cannot be touched. Like, we cannot drill in the ground, we cannot pour a foundation. It's a temporary structure, so together with an engineering firm that helped us, Studio NYL, we were able to design a kind of a foundation, which is a series of small concrete pads that we precast in our shops, and that forms the foundation. So they're strategically placed on a 4x4 grid module around the tree, and in such a way that they don't put pressure on the roots.
We kind of split into 3 different groups. And one group was the structural group and the decking, which is what I did. Another group made the furniture, and then another group made the screen, which kind of goes around the back here.
Well, the screen itself is really important to get people interested in the project. That was one of the main criteria, aside from blocking the wind and sun, was gathering people towards the tree office. We have these organic shapes that are offset from each other to give this 3D effect that you can see through a little bit, get a little bit of air through it. And then we coated some of the panels with this iridescent dichromatic film. And so you get this beautiful reflection as you walk around the tree office. Changes colors depending on what angle you're at. So it's a fun experience.
Really amazing. I mean, honestly, after all this hard work the entire class put in, it feels just great to have a tangible thing that you can show people and bring them to, and actually have them walk through and show them, why is this design like this, or why is this structural piece like this, and you can actually tell them and really kind of give them the insider details of this. Whereas normally we just have a model or some drawings, and this is really nice to show family and friends.
Often we're used to working in cubicles or in cafes or wherever it is, but not in nature, where we're very aware of, what is the weather, what is the wind, what is the natural flora and fauna, and it kind of totally reframes how you appreciate nature.
The tree office is located across from the Boulder Museum of Contemporary Art and is open to the public. However, spaces can be reserved for donations, and the money will be put back into taking care of the tree the office is built around. For more information, call BMOCA. The City of Boulder is known for being a bike-friendly community, and along with that honor comes a large number of bike thefts. Police have already taken 342 reports for stolen bikes this year, recovered 24 bikes, and have returned 15 bikes to their owners.
The police department is doing what they can to prevent these thefts. We've taken a step of purchasing decoy bikes that are planted in areas where we see an increase of bike theft activity. And we're doing that to, one, act as a deterrent, and two, catch people that are stealing bikes in Boulder. They normally don't stop with just one, they'll steal a large number of bikes because it's an easy crime of opportunity. We ask that residents and guests do what they can to keep their bikes secure. A cable lock is better than no lock at all. However, with bolt cutters, it can be cut within a matter of seconds. A U-lock does provide an added level of security and is the lock of choice that we recommend. In addition to that, the Boulder Police Department offers free bike registration. That may not prevent your bike from being stolen, however, it will increase the odds that your bike is returned to you. Every year we recover a number of stolen bikes and are unable to locate the owners of the bicycles to return them. So please take an extra few minutes, stop by the police department or a number of bike stores throughout the community that offer this free registration and help us help you.
As part of the free registration program, name and contact information is recorded, along with bike make, model, and serial number. Bike owners receive a copy of their registration information and a tamper-resistant registration sticker to place on a visible area of the bike. The information is added into a police database, so in the event a bike is stolen and recovered, the owner can be located. Tube to Work Day started in 2008 with 2 friends and has grown significantly every year. In 2014, the morning commute was more exciting for about 40 people, and last year around 200 people braved the chilly waters of the Boulder Creek for the annual event. This year, Tube to Work Day will take place on Friday, July 15th. For all the details on how to participate, visit the event's Facebook page. Thank you for watching Inside Boulder News. Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Twitter by submitting news tips and questions. You can also sign up to receive video updates right in your inbox. Just go to boulderchannel8.com and click on subscribe.